45 years of marriage, half a lifetime. And now all that was left was to sign at the bottom of the page. I looked at these papers as if they were not written for me. I looked at the date, at my name, at her name. Divorce. I didn't think it was possible to start life from scratch at that age. But here I am, with a pen in hand, in front of a lawyer, and she is standing in front of me. 45 years ago, we were young. I saw in her everything I dreamed of, and she laughed so much that I wanted to live. She supported me in everything. We made plans, raised children, quarreled, made up, got sick, grew old together, and then something broke, not abruptly, not in one day. Gradually, like a crack in an old wall, at first small, almost imperceptible, and then growing until the whole building collapses. At first, we just talked less. Then we stopped hugging before going to bed. Then we each started living our own lives. And then we had this conversation. We have nothing else to talk about, she said one night. And it turned out that she was right. The trial did not last long. I sat there listening to the lawyers talking about the division of property, and I couldn't believe that it was about me. She got the house. The car was hers too. I was getting my share of the money, but where was I going to go? When the judge announced that the marriage was dissolved, I didn't even breathe a sigh of relief. I didn't feel anything. I looked at her. She was calm. Or she was just pretending to be. I rented a small apartment. An old sofa, a TV, a kitchen that I didn't want to use. The first night without her, I lay there and couldn't sleep. It seemed that there should be her breathing next to me, her silhouette in the dark. But there was only emptiness. And this emptiness scared me. The following days were similar to each other. I would wake up, make coffee, and look out the window. People were walking on the street. Someone had a meaning in their lives. But what about me? I found an old photo album. I opened it. A wedding. Young faces, happy smiles. Our first house. Our little children. I flipped through the pages if I were looking back at a life that was no longer mine. And then I made my first big mistake. I picked up the phone and dialed her number. I shouldn't have called. I knew that. But damn it, after 45 years of marriage, it's hard to just cut someone out of your life. The phone was silent for a long time. I was about to hang up when I heard her voicing, "What do you want, Henry?" I opened my mouth, but the words were stuck. What do I want? What am I going to say? I missed you. I can't sleep without your breath next to me. I was silent, and she was waiting. And then she broke the silence herself. "Henry, don't make it harder. It's all over now." And she hung up the phone. I was left sitting in the dark, holding the phone in my hand like an idiot. The next morning I woke up with the same emptiness inside. I decided to go out. Just take a walk to clear my head. The street was bustling with life. People were hurrying about their business. I went to a cafe that she and I loved. I ordered a coffee and sat down by the window. And then I saw her. She was sitting a few tables away from me. She was not alone. There was a man across from her. My brain immediately switched to interrogation modig. Who is this? How long have they known each other? Is she already with someone? I saw her smile, which I hadn't seen in years. She was laughing. "I just wanted to hear from you." He was silent. And then he said something that knocked me off my feet. "Dad, I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time. There is something important." I sat down because my legs wouldn't hold me. What does he know? What is he going to tell me? I felt my heart pounding in my chest, and I realized that the secret I had discovered was only the beginning. I had never felt so alone. In my own home, in my own life, and my son was silent on the phone, and I could only hear my own heavy breathing. What was he going to tell me? Dad. It's hard to explain. He began. I squeezed the phone until my knuckles turned white. No, tell me. My voice was as hard as sandpaper. I've been feeling something for a long time. He sighed. I've been feeling that something is wrong between us. I almost dropped the phone. Did he suspect it too? If I've always loved my son. He was my pride. But now, thinking back over all these years, I realized that sometimes we were too different. He is not like me, neither in appearance nor in character. He was always closer to his mother. Was it because she knew the truth? A dad. I did a DNA test. My son's voice sounded guilty. The world around me froze. My heart pounded somewhere in my throat. So, I exhaled. You're? And not my biological father, he said. It was like being stabbed in the stomach. I stood up, although my legs felt like cotton wool. Not my son. Had I been living a lie for 45 years? I loved him, raised him, worked for him. But he was not mine. What did that mean for both of us? You are my son, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He remained silent. That doesn't change anything, I added, even though I was screaming inside. Dad, I just wanted you to know, he whispered. I hung up the phone. I didn't know who I was anymore, or who they were to me. I sat down in my chair and stared at the wall. Did she know? Had she been lying to my face all these years? I had to talk to her. I had to ask her. But was I ready to hear her answer? She looked at me with an expression I could no longer decipher. Not fear. No, rather relief. As if she had been waiting for this moment her whole life. Did you know? I asked quietly, but there was something in my voice that made her flinch. She didn't answer right away. She inhaled and exhaled. And then, after a long pause, she nodded. Yes. Everything inside of me shrank. You knew and you didn't say anything. I took a step toward her. It wasn't that easy, she whispered. I laughed dryly, without joy. Not that easy. I spent 45 years raising someone else's child, and you say it wasn't easy. She pressed her lips together, and I could see that something was struggling inside her. And then she said something that made me break out in a cold sweat. You were never supposed to know about this. I walked around the room. My heart was beating so hard I could hear it in my ears. Who is he? I asked, not looking at her. There was silence. I turned around sharply. Who is his father? She lowered her head. It doesn't matter. And to you, maybe? To me, it does. I stared at her like I was seeing her for the first time. What other shit was she hiding? How many more times had she lied to my face? And I put my life on this family. And what did I get in return? Nothing. We're not a family anymore, I said. She looked up at me, and for the first time I saw real panic there. No, don't say that. I shook my head. A family is about trust. And she is no longer between us. I took my jacket and left without looking back. For the first time in 45 years, I felt truly free. Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, she did something I didn't expect. Well, it seems I didn't know her. 45 years of marriage, and I had no idea who she really was. I was about to leave this city. For the first time in years, I had no plan. I just wanted to get out. And then the phone rang. I saw her name on the screen, and I should have ignored it. I should have. But I answered it. Hi. Her voice was quiet. No, I didn't say anything. I want you to know. I wrote a will. I frowned. So? I put everything in your name. I didn't understand what she meant. Everything what? The house, the bills, the savings. She paused. I don't want you to be left with nothing. I laughed, deafly, nervously. Nothing. It's too late, Linda. I already have nothing. I walked into the house and immediately felt that something was wrong. She was sitting at the table, a bottle of wine in front of her. It was empty. "This is all I can do for you," she said without even looking up. I had a strange feeling. Linda. "What have you done?" She looked up. I left you more than just a house and money." Anxiety flashed through my mind. "What do you mean?" She smiled, and then I realized it wasn't over. What else was she hiding? What did I miss? What and most importantly, what am I supposed to do about it now? I thought I finally had the answers. I was wrong, because now I was faced with the main question: what should I do with all this? I was sitting in my chair, now hers, looking at the familiar walls and not recognizing this place. The house we had built together now belonged to me alone. But why was this not good at all? Why did I want to run away? And I spread her papers in front of me. Her will, bank statements, and other envelope, thin but heavy, and there were more than just words inside. I opened it, and a photo fell out, black and white. An old one. She was in it, young, smiling, and next to her was a strange man, too familiar, too much like me. Under the photo is a note, her manuscript, no doubt. I always knew that one day you would find the truth. I'm sorry, the truth. What truth? Suddenly the phone rang. The number was unknown. I pressed the button. "Hello." "I need to talk to you," said a man's voice. "It's important." The next day I went to a cafe on the outskirts of the city. He was already waiting. He was gray-haired, wrinkled, but his eyes were the same as in the photo. I sat down across from him, my heart pounding. "Do you know who I am?" I didn't answer. I had already guessed. "She never told you, did she?" I remained silent. He looked me straight in the eyes. "She loved you. But you don't know the whole story. The truth was partially revealed to me, but I felt it was not the end. Now I had a new question. Am I ready to know everything? The truth always finds its way to the surface, even if you are not ready to accept it. And I wasn't. Not then, and maybe not now. The man sat across from me, calm. He held a cup of coffee in his hands, but did not drink it. His eyes were those of a man who had seen more than he wanted to. I swallowed the lump in my throat. Go ahead. Was I ready? I don't know. But I had to listen. She loved you," he began. But before that, there was another story, and I never took my eyes off him. We were young, so young. He squeezed his fingers together as if to hold back the memories. She had a choice between me and you. "She chose you," he said, "but not because she didn't love me." I was in a fever. "You mean?" He nodded. "Yes, I am your brother." My body was petrified. I couldn't find the words. He was my brother. All my life I thought I had no one. And now, she wanted to tell you, he continued, but she was afraid. I closed my eyes. Her voice echoed in my head, her laughter. Her eyes, which now took on a new meaning. She knew, and he knew. And was I living a lie? He looked me straight in the eye. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner." I didn't know what to say. Did I have the right to be angry? Did I have the right to forgive? I left the cafe and breathed in the cool air. My life had changed. I was left alone. Or was I? Because maybe it wasn't the end. Was it the beginning? I hope you find this story interesting. Your feedback, suggestions, and subscriptions are always welcome.